Have you ever found yourself lying in bed, eyes fixed on the darkness above, your thoughts tangled and relentless? It's like your mind becomes a restless orchestra, playing dissonant notes of past regrets, unfinished tasks, and the quiet but unyielding worries about the future. You're exhausted, every fiber of your body pleads for rest. Yet sleep remains elusive, always just beyond your reach. The more you strain to capture it, the more it slips away. Frustration builds, feeding the very restlessness you're trying to calm. You're not alone. Millions are caught in this cruel cycle, a battle where the body craves rest, but the mind refuses to surrender. So, we seek out solutions. We pop sleeping pills, drown ourselves in white noise, or cling to late-night distractions, desperate for even a brief reprieve. But those fixes are temporary at best, mere bandages over a wound that never truly heals. What if the answer isn't about doing more, but releasing your grip? What if deep, restorative sleep isn't a prize to be chased, but a gift to be welcomed? Perhaps true rest begins not with effort, but with acceptance, letting go of the endless striving and allowing your mind the grace to simply be. Subscribe to Daily Buddhism Wisdom for more practical and mindful approaches to cultivating deep, restorative sleep and inner peace. Buddhism teaches us that true peace isn't found in the absence of problems, but in our ability to release them. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." These words hold profound truth, not only in how we approach life's struggles but also in how we seek rest and rejuvenation through sleep. Consider this. Sleep, at its essence, is the art of letting go. Letting go of our thoughts, our worries, and even our desire to sleep itself. Yet, for so many of us, that release feels impossible. The more we chase rest, the more it seems to slip away. Tonight, rather than wrestling with restlessness or forcefully attempting to quiet a turbulent mind, let's take a different path. A path rooted in stillness, presence, and mindfulness. A journey into ancient Buddhist techniques that gently guide the mind to quietude, relax the body, and allow sleep to come as naturally as a leaf falling from a tree. Take a deep breath. Release the tension of the day. And let's begin. Chapter 1. Understanding why we struggle to sleep. Before we can explore meaningful solutions to our sleep struggles, we must first understand the nature of the problem. Why is it that so many people, particularly as they grow older, find themselves grappling with sleeplessness? What is it that keeps the mind restless and prevents the body from finding true rest? The Buddha often spoke of attachment and craving as fundamental sources of suffering. Most of us tend to think of attachment in terms of tangible things: material possessions, relationships, career ambitions. But what if the most stubborn attachments are not to physical objects or external circumstances, but to our own thoughts? Our minds have a natural tendency to cling to worries, regrets, and expectations. We replay past mistakes, agonize over what we should have done differently, or anticipate future problems that may never even occur. This endless loop of mental chatter becomes like a chain that binds us, keeping us unsettled and unable to release ourselves into rest. Like waves crashing against a shore, our thoughts rise and fall, relentless and unforgiving. We often struggle to quiet the mind, but the more we try to force it into submission, the more it rebels. This incessant cycle of thought and resistance prevents us from experiencing the calm, restorative sleep we so desperately seek. There is an old Buddhist story that perfectly illustrates this struggle. A weary farmer once approached the Buddha, his eyes heavy and shoulders slumped under the weight of his burdens. "I cannot sleep," he lamented. "My crops are struggling. My son does not listen to me. My wife worries too much. My mind is overwhelmed by so many problems." The Buddha listened with patience and compassion before replying, "I cannot take your problems away, but I can help you see them differently. Life will always have 83 problems. When you solve one, another will inevitably take its place. The key is not in eliminating your problems, but in learning not to suffer over them." Confused, the farmer asked, 83 problems? "Yes," the Buddha replied. "Everyone has 83 problems. No matter who you are or how hard you try, you will always face difficulties in life. But there is an 84th problem. and that is your desire to have no problems at all. It is that very desire which causes suffering. This simple yet profound teaching reveals a powerful truth. The farmer, like so many of us, was trapped in the illusion that peace could only be achieved once all his problems were solved. But life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. There will always be worries, concerns about our health, our families, our finances, the state of the world. And the more we try to control every aspect of our existence, the more restless and agitated we become. Consider the story of Margaret, an elderly woman who spent years battling sleeplessness. Every night, she would lie awake, her mind racing through a labyrinth of worries. Did I remember to pay that bill? Is my grandson doing well in school? What if my health continues to decline? The worries would spiral endlessly, one thought leading to another, dragging her further and further from the peaceful rest she craved. It felt as if her mind was addicted to worry, latching onto anything it could find to keep her awake. One evening, Margaret confided in a friend, a retired teacher who had also struggled with sleeplessness in the past. The friend offered her a simple yet profound insight. Your mind is like a cup of water, constantly stirred by worry. The more you agitate it, the cloudier it becomes. But if you sit still and allow it to rest, clarity returns. Margaret took her friend's words to heart. She began practicing a nightly ritual that became her own gentle form of meditation. Each night before lying down, she would sit quietly, close her eyes, and take several deep, calming breaths. She would then remind herself, "Tonight, I do not need to solve everything. The world will still be here tomorrow." Over time, Margaret discovered that by releasing her need for control, her mind naturally began to settle. Like still water reflecting the moon, her thoughts grew calm, allowing sleep to gently wash over her. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Sleep is often elusive because we carry the weight of our daytime worries into the night. Even as we lie in bed, our minds resist stillness, clinging to fears, responsibilities, and the illusion of control. We convince ourselves that rest will only come once every problem is resolved. But as the Buddha's teaching reminds us, true peace is not found by fixing everything but by changing our relationship with our thoughts. Instead of battling our worries or trying to suppress them, we can learn to acknowledge them, observe them, and then let them pass, like leaves floating down a gentle stream. The goal is not to silence the mind entirely, but to cultivate a sense of spaciousness and acceptance that allows thoughts to come and go without causing distress. So, as you prepare for sleep tonight, ask yourself, what am I holding on to that I can set down, even if only for now? The answer may surprise you. And in that small act of letting go, you may discover that the doorway to rest has been waiting for you all along. Open, inviting, and filled with the peace you seek. Chapter 2. The Power of Letting Go. A young monk once approached his teacher with a question that had been troubling him for weeks. "Master," he asked, "how do you sleep so soundly every night? No matter what happens during the day, you always seem at peace." The teacher smiled gently and replied, "Before bed, I take off my robe and fold it neatly. I do the same with my thoughts." This simple response carried a profound lesson, one that many of us overlook in our restless modern lives. Letting go is not about ignoring or escaping from our problems. It is about acknowledging them, seeing them clearly, without allowing them to consume us. Just as we wouldn't carry a heavy bag to bed, why do we carry the weight of our worries? Why do we allow unresolved thoughts to tangle in our minds, preventing us from drifting into peaceful rest? Imagine an elderly woman named Eleanor. Every night, as she lay in bed, her mind would spiral into the same relentless loop of anxieties and fears. Did I say the wrong thing to my daughter today? What if my health continues to decline? Will I become a burden to my family? These thoughts piled up like unopened letters, demanding her attention. The more she tried to push them away, the louder they seemed to grow. She would toss and turn for hours, her heart racing with worries that felt too big to contain. Sleep, once so effortless in her youth, had become a distant memory. In those days, she would fall asleep the moment her head touched the pillow, carefree and untouched by the burdens of age and responsibility. But as the years passed, her thoughts grew heavier, tangled with fears about the past, the present, and the future. One evening, during a conversation with a friend named May, a retired Buddhist practitioner, Eleanor admitted her struggles. May listened patiently, her calm demeanor a balm to Eleanor's frayed nerves. "I can't seem to sleep anymore," Eleanor confessed. "My thoughts won't leave me alone. The moment I lie down, they start crowding in, demanding my attention." May nodded knowingly. "Your worries are like guests at a tea house," she said. "Some come and go quietly, while others overstay their welcome. But remember, Eleanor, you are the host. You decide which guests to entertain and which to let go." "What do you mean?" Eleanor asked, her curiosity piqued. "In Buddhism," May explained, "we learn to acknowledge our thoughts without attachment. Just as you would greet a visitor at the door, you can greet your worries. But you don't have to invite them inside and serve them tea. You can acknowledge them, then kindly show them the door." That night, Eleanor tried something new. She sat at her bedside with a small notebook and pen. Instead of letting her worries rattle around in her mind like marbles in a jar, she began writing them down. One by one, she released each thought onto paper, giving them form and substance. She wrote about her concerns for her health, her family, her mistakes, and her fears for the future. When she was finished, she whispered to herself, "I will return to these tomorrow. But tonight, I choose to rest." Closing the notebook, Eleanor symbolically closed the door to those thoughts for the night. She placed the notebook on her nightstand and took a deep, steady breath. To her surprise, sleep found her with a softness and ease she had not experienced in years. The lesson Eleanor learned is one of the most fundamental teachings in Buddhism. Letting go. It does not mean dismissing our concerns or pretending they don't exist. It means ceasing to carry them with us at all times. It means recognizing that we do not have to solve every problem before allowing ourselves to rest. When we try to control everything, every worry, every outcome, every thought, we place an impossible burden upon ourselves. True peace, as the Buddha taught, comes from releasing that burden, from loosening our grip on the things we cannot control. Buddhist traditions often include small but meaningful rituals to help the mind transition from wakefulness to rest. These practices are not about banishing thoughts or striving for some perfect state of calm. Instead, they gently guide us to acknowledge our thoughts, honor them, and then let them pass. Here are some powerful ways to practice letting go before bed. 1. Write down your thoughts. Taking a few minutes to write down your worries can be a transformative practice. As Eleanor discovered, transferring thoughts from mind to paper can release their hold over you. When you write, do not dwell on each thought or analyze it endlessly. Instead, treat the act of writing as a release. This simple practice tells the mind, "I acknowledge you, but you do not need to follow me into sleep." 2. The floating lantern visualization. Close your eyes and imagine placing each worry into a floating paper lantern. Visualize yourself gently releasing the lantern onto a calm river. Watch as it drifts away, its light growing fainter until it finally disappears from view. This visualization reinforces the idea that you are not your thoughts. You can observe them, release them, and allow them to pass without clinging to them. 3. A letting go mantra. Repeating a phrase or mantra before bed can help signal to your body and mind that it is time to rest. Some examples include, "I release this day. I welcome peace. I have done enough. Now I rest. I let go of what was. I embrace what is." These words, spoken softly or even silently, act as gentle reminders that it is okay to put down the weight of the day. The wisdom of letting go can be summed up in a simple Zen analogy. A master once held up a cup of tea and asked his student, "If the cup is already full, how can I pour more into it?" The student thought for a moment and replied, "You must first empty it." Sleep is much the same. If our minds are full, overflowing with worries, fears, and to-do lists, there is no room for rest. But when we empty the cup, even just a little, we create space for stillness. So tonight, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, what am I holding on to that I can set down, just for now? Whatever it is, Trust that it will be there in the morning. But tonight, you deserve to rest. Let go, breathe deeply, and allow sleep to find you. Chapter 3. The breath as a gateway to sleep. In Buddhist practice, the breath is everything. It serves as an anchor to the present moment, a bridge connecting wakefulness to deep, restorative sleep. Many monks have long used mindful breathing not only to enhance meditation, but also as a powerful tool to enter a state of peaceful slumber. Though often overlooked, the breath is a sacred rhythm, steady, constant, always available. Yet how often do we truly pay attention to it? We breathe thousands of times each day, but rarely with intention or awareness. When we learn to focus on our breath, however, we discover a natural doorway to calmness and rest. A Zen master once said, "If you want to control your mind, control your breath. If you want to quiet your thoughts, listen to your breath." This simple yet profound teaching highlights a truth deeply rooted in Buddhist philosophy. The mind and breath are intricately connected. When our breathing is hurried and shallow, our thoughts tend to be restless and fragmented. But when we slow our breath, allowing each inhale and exhale to deepen, the mind often follows, settling into a state of tranquility. Consider the story of Haruto, a retired craftsman from Kyoto. In his younger years, Haruto would spend long hours carving intricate designs into wood, his mind so absorbed in the rhythm of his hands that all other thoughts would fade away. For him, creativity and focus were one and the same, an effortless flow, unbroken by worry or doubt. But as he aged, sleep became elusive. The focus he once experienced so naturally in his work now escaped him at night. His mind, once calm and centered, grew restless, wandering relentlessly through a labyrinth of unfinished tasks, old regrets, and anxieties about the future. Each night, his thoughts would spiral into a tangled web, keeping him awake long after the world had grown silent. Desperate for rest, Haruto tried countless remedies, herbal teas, warm baths, counting sheep, yet nothing seemed to quiet his overactive mind. Frustrated and exhausted, he visited an old friend, a Buddhist monk who had spent decades studying meditation. "I have tried everything," Haruto confessed, "but my mind refuses to rest. No matter what I do, I can't find sleep." The monk listened patiently and then handed Haruto a small cup of tea. "Drink this," he said. Haruto took a sip, feeling the warmth spread through his body. The monk then asked, "Did you have to think about drinking the tea?" Haruto shook his head. "No, I just did it." "Exactly," the monk replied with a gentle smile. "Breathing is the same. You do not need to force sleep. You simply need to return to your breath." That night, Haruto took his friend's advice. Instead of fighting his thoughts, he focused on the natural rise and fall of his breath. He allowed each inhale and exhale to guide him into stillness, like the gentle rocking of a boat upon calm waters. Slowly, the tension in his body melted away, and for the first time in years, sleep came effortlessly. The power of breathing lies not only in its simplicity but also in its ability to bring us back to the present moment. Often, our minds remain trapped in cycles of regret over the past or fear of the future. But when we focus on the breath, we return to the present, where true peace resides. A simple breathing practice for deep sleep. You can practice Haruto's approach tonight with the following steps. Become aware of your breath. Lie down comfortably and close your eyes. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. Without trying to change anything, simply observe where your breath naturally moves. Is it shallow and confined to the chest, or is it deep and expanding into the belly? Deepen your breathing. Take a slow, deep inhale through your nose, counting to 4. Allow your belly to expand like a balloon, feeling your hand rise gently with each breath. Exhale with intention. Exhale slowly, counting to 6, feeling the air leave your lungs as your belly falls. As you breathe out, imagine releasing all the worries and tension of the day. Repeat a calming mantra. With each breath, silently repeat a soothing phrase that encourages relaxation. I am here. Inhale. I am safe. Exhale. I am at peace. Inhale and exhale. Continue this pattern for several minutes, allowing the repetition of the mantra and the rhythm of your breath to guide you toward deeper relaxation. This practice signals to your nervous system that it is time to rest, shifting your body from a state of anxiety to one of calmness, like a still lake reflecting the moon. Why this works? From a scientific perspective, slow and intentional breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs rest and relaxation. When this system is engaged, your heart rate decreases, blood pressure lowers, and your muscles release tension. In essence, your body receives the message that it is safe and allowed to rest. But from a Buddhist perspective, breathing mindfully is more than a relaxation technique. It is a way of returning to the present moment, releasing attachment to both the past and the future. By anchoring yourself to the rhythm of your breath, you are no longer carried away by racing thoughts or anxious imaginings. Instead, you experience the purity of the present moment, where peace is always within reach. The next time you find yourself chasing sleep, try shifting your focus to your breath. Rather than striving for rest, allow your breath to guide you there naturally. As the monk told Haruto, sleep is not something to force or control. It is something to welcome, with patience and presence. Tonight, as you prepare for bed, remember that your breath is a gentle teacher. It is always with you, ready to guide you back to a place of calm whenever you need it. All you have to do is listen. Chapter 4. The Mindfulness Body Scan for Deep Relaxation. A restless mind cannot find sleep. But what if, instead of battling against our thoughts, we gently guided them toward peace? What if, rather than resisting restlessness, we allowed our bodies to soften, our breath to deepen, and our awareness to settle fully into the present moment? In the teachings of Buddhism, there is a powerful practice known as the Mindfulness Body Scan, a technique designed to calm the body, quiet the mind, and allow sleep to arise naturally. It is not about forcing sleep or striving for stillness. Rather, it is about creating the right conditions for rest to emerge, like a flower blooming effortlessly when given sunlight and water. Just as a still pond naturally reflects the moon, a calm body invites the soothing embrace of restful slumber. The Mindfulness Body Scan is a gentle yet profound meditation technique. It invites practitioners to slowly bring their awareness to each part of the body, noticing sensations, releasing tension, and guiding the mind back to the simplicity of the present moment. By shifting attention away from spiraling thoughts and grounding it in physical sensations, we create a sanctuary of calm within ourselves, one that allows sleep to arrive naturally. A story of letting go through the body. An elderly man named Robert had struggled with sleep for years. As the seasons of his life passed, his nights grew increasingly restless. He had tried everything: warm milk, sleep medications, herbal teas, and even counting sheep until his mind grew weary of the effort. But nothing seemed to quiet the relentless chatter that filled his head. Each night, as he lay in bed, his mind would race through a labyrinth of thoughts. Memories from his past would resurface, regrets that whispered accusations, mistakes that refused to be forgotten. Fears of the future would tighten in his chest like a coiled rope. The more he tried to push these thoughts away, the stronger they became, demanding his attention with a stubborn persistence. One evening, Robert visited a meditation teacher who lived in his town. Desperate for relief, he confessed his troubles. "My mind refuses to settle," Robert admitted. "Even when I try to sleep, my thoughts race like a river after a storm. I feel as if I am drowning in them." The teacher listened with compassion, then handed Robert a cup of tea. "Feel the warmth in your hands," the teacher instructed. "Feel the weight of the cup. Notice the steam rising. Drink slowly, and with each sip, allow yourself to be fully present." Robert followed the instructions, somewhat puzzled by their simplicity. But as he cradled the warm cup and took small sips, something unexpected began to happen. His mind, which had been racing just moments before, began to slow. His breathing deepened. His shoulders relaxed, and the tension he had been carrying for days seemed to melt away. The simple act of bringing awareness to his senses had begun to settle his restless mind. The teacher placed a gentle hand on Robert's arm and spoke with the wisdom of years. "The body is always in the present," the teacher said, "but the mind loves to wander. To sleep peacefully, We must invite the mind back into the body. That night, Robert tried something new. Instead of battling his thoughts or struggling to silence them, he focused on the sensations of his own body. He allowed himself to feel the weight of his limbs, the warmth of the blankets, and the cool air against his skin. He let his awareness move through his body, softening each part, releasing tension one breath at a time. For the first time in years, Robert drifted into deep, uninterrupted sleep, guiding the body into stillness. The Mindfulness Body Scan. The Mindfulness Body Scan is both a meditation practice and a ritual of release. It allows the practitioner to gradually bring awareness to each part of the body, releasing tension and inviting calmness. By guiding the mind's attention to physical sensations, we draw it away from restless thoughts and into the sanctuary of the present moment. Here is a simple mindfulness body scan practice to try before sleep. Settle into comfort. Find a comfortable position, whether lying down in bed or reclining in a chair. Let your hands rest gently at your sides, palms facing upward. Close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath in, then exhale fully. Allow your body to relax naturally. Bring awareness to your feet. Begin by directing your attention to your feet. Notice any sensations, warmth, coolness, tension, or even numbness. Allow your feet to soften, as if they are sinking gently into a warm pool of water. With each exhale, release any tension you feel. Move up through your legs. Gradually shift your awareness upward to your legs. Feel the muscles in your calves and thighs. Allow them to loosen, releasing any tightness or heaviness. Let your legs feel warm, relaxed, and at ease. Focus on your abdomen. Draw your attention to your abdomen. Notice the natural rise and fall of your breath. Let go of any tension you may be holding there. Feel your breath moving freely, without restriction or strain. Soften your hands and arms. Bring awareness to your hands and arms. Unclench your fists if they are tight, and let your shoulders drop. Release the weight of the day from your shoulders, allowing them to rest peacefully. Relax your face. Focus on your face, often where we hold the most tension. Relax your jaw, unclench your teeth, and soften your forehead. Allow your eyes to rest, even if they are closed. Reach the top of your head. Finally, guide your awareness to the top of your head. Imagine a gentle wave of relaxation flowing over your entire body, like a warm breeze sweeping across a quiet landscape. By the time you complete this practice, sleep will often be waiting for you, like a patient friend ready to offer its comfort. Why this works? The Mindfulness Body Scan is more than just a relaxation exercise. It is a bridge between wakefulness and deep rest. By focusing on bodily sensations, we gently train the mind to remain grounded in the present moment, rather than spiraling into thoughts of the past or future. In Buddhism, this practice is known as grounding in the present. When we bring attention to our bodies, we return to the here and now, the only place where peace can truly be found. With consistent practice, the Mindfulness Body Scan becomes an effortless path to sleep. It serves as a reminder to both the mind and body that it is safe to let go. Tonight, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, can I allow my body to rest without needing to fix or change anything? If the answer is yes, then sleep is already on its way. The path to peace is not about controlling the mind, but inviting it to rest. Through the Mindfulness Body Scan, we learn to accept restlessness without resistance and release our thoughts without struggle. We return to the simplicity of being present, where sleep awaits like a calm, welcoming embrace. Chapter 5. Embracing sleep as a spiritual practice. In the teachings of Buddhism, sleep is not wasted time. It is sacred rest, an essential part of the cycle of life and growth. Just as a candle cannot burn endlessly without eventually consuming itself, we, too, must renew our energy to continue our journey. Sleep, in this sense, is not merely a physical necessity. It is a spiritual practice, a profound act of surrender, restoration, and awakening. It is common for people to think of sleep as simply a biological process, a mundane act meant to recharge the body for another day of productivity. But within the Buddhist tradition, sleep is approached with reverence. It is seen as an opportunity to nourish not only the body but also the spirit. It is a time for healing, renewal, and the quieting of the restless mind. There is a famous Zen story about a young monk who was so devoted to his practice that he began to push himself beyond his natural limits. Convinced that longer periods of meditation would bring him closer to enlightenment, he forced himself to stay awake deep into the night, fighting exhaustion with sheer willpower. His teacher, noticing the fatigue etched into the monk's features, approached him one evening with gentle concern. "Why do you push yourself so relentlessly?" the teacher asked. "Because I wish to reach enlightenment," the monk replied. "I believe that if I meditate long enough, I will find wisdom." The teacher nodded, then took a simple bow from a nearby shelf. Holding it in his hands, he began to pull the string taut, his gaze steady. "A bowstring pulled too tight will break," the teacher said. "A bowstring left too loose will not play. The key is balance." The monk watched as his teacher released the string, allowing it to return to a state of rest. The lesson was clear. Striving beyond one's natural capacity is not a path to wisdom, but a path to depletion. True progress requires harmony, not force. The Buddha himself taught, "Rest your body, rest your mind. When you wake, begin anew." Sleep is a time when both the physical body and the spirit can heal. It is not an obstacle to productivity, nor is it an indulgence or a waste of time. It is an essential act of self-care, a gift we offer ourselves each night, no less sacred than the act of meditation itself. Reframing sleep from struggle to surrender. In modern society, many of us have been conditioned to view sleep as something to be conquered. We live in a world driven by schedules, deadlines, and constant stimulation. The relentless pace of life often leaves us feeling as though rest is a luxury we cannot afford. When sleep does not come easily, frustration arises. Thoughts swirl in the mind, creating resistance. We say to ourselves, "I need to fall asleep now. Why can't I sleep? If I don't sleep, tomorrow will be ruined." This inner dialogue only serves to create more tension, making sleep even more elusive. The more we try to force sleep, the further it drifts away, like a bird startled by sudden movement. But what if we approached sleep the way a monk approaches meditation? With patience, gentleness, and trust. Instead of chasing sleep, we can invite it. Instead of battling insomnia, we can surrender to rest. Consider the story of Maria, an elderly woman who had spent her entire life living by the clock. She was the sort of person who woke before dawn, worked tirelessly throughout the day, and rarely allowed herself the luxury of slowing down. In her younger years, this relentless drive had served her well. But as she aged, she found herself lying awake at night, her mind replaying memories of her past or rehearsing worries for the future. One evening, unable to sleep, Maria sat outside under the moonlight. She gazed at the sky, her thoughts wandering until she remembered something her grandmother had once told her. The moon does not rush to rise. The sun does not hurry to set. Yet they are always on time. Those words settled within her like a gentle breeze. That night, Maria tried something different. Instead of demanding sleep to arrive on her schedule, she welcomed it as one might welcome an old friend. She whispered softly to herself, "I trust that my body knows how to rest." She allowed herself to simply be, without expectation or impatience. Gradually, her breath deepened, her muscles softened, and she drifted into sleep, not through force, but through surrender. Setting an intention for restful sleep. In Buddhist practice, intention is a powerful tool. Just as one might set an intention before meditation or prayer, so too can we set an intention before sleep. This simple act of mindfulness can shift the mind from anxiety and effort to a place of trust and acceptance. Here are a few intentions you might consider adopting as part of your nightly ritual. Tonight, I offer my body deep rest. May I wake with clarity and peace. I release this day with gratitude. Tomorrow will unfold as it should. I surrender to the rhythm of nature. My rest is part of the flow of life. These intentions serve as a bridge, gently guiding the mind from the turbulence of the day into the stillness of night. They are not commands or demands but gentle invitations for peace to enter. The practice of waking mindfully. Buddhist monks often view each morning as a new beginning, a fresh opportunity to live with presence and kindness. Rather than waking up and immediately reaching for distractions, they begin their day with gratitude and intention. In the monasteries of Thailand, monks recite a simple verse each morning. I am alive today. This is a gift. May I live with wisdom and kindness. What if, before getting out of bed, we paused and offered ourselves a moment of quiet reflection? What if we treated the first breath of the day as sacred, allowing it to fill our lungs with new life? You might consider whispering to yourself, I have been given another day. May I move through it with peace. I am grateful for this body that carries me. May my actions bring joy to myself and others. By embracing sleep as a spiritual act, we let go of struggle and invite tranquility, not only at night but in the way we wake, move, and experience life itself, awakening to a new way of sleeping. Tonight, as you lay your head down, remember, sleep is not something to chase. It is something to welcome, like the tide returning to shore. It comes naturally when we stop resisting, when we soften into the present moment and allow ourselves to simply be. Let go of the burdens of the day. Breathe deeply, and allow stillness to cradle you. Ask yourself, what can I release tonight to invite peace? Perhaps it is a lingering worry. Perhaps it is an expectation that no longer serves you. Perhaps it is the need to control something beyond your reach. Each night is an opportunity to practice surrender, to trust that life will continue unfolding with or without our grasp. Sleep is more than closing your eyes. It is an act of faith, a moment of surrender, a doorway to renewal. So tonight, give yourself permission to rest. Breathe in peace. Exhale tension. Let sleep find you. And when the morning sun rises, greet the new day not with worry, but with gratitude for another chance to live fully, love deeply, and walk this path with presence. May you find peace in stillness, comfort in simplicity, and the deepest, most nourishing sleep you have ever known. If you found value in these teachings, join us on this journey of mindful living. Like, share, and subscribe to Daily Buddhism Wisdom for more reflections on peace, wisdom, and spiritual growth. May your nights be peaceful and your days be filled with joy.